Hi, I'm Dylan Paris, and today I'm going to show you how I use my iPad Pro with my MPC Live and also make a song from scratch. So I'm going to show you how to plug it all up, how it's all set up, and then I'm going to actually make some music with it. Before I get started, please consider liking and subscribing. Obviously people say that all the time, but that's because it really helps channels. Along with that, this video is brought to you by me, Dylan Paris. I am a musician, and I would be so beyond honored if you considered following my Spotify, linked below. I've been putting out stuff pretty consistently, including Balcony, my new single, and There's Something Better, my latest album. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get started. Okay, so this setup might look a little convoluted, and in some ways it is. That's partially because the iPad Pro only has a single port. And so to do this, I needed to use my Zomoy USB hub. This hub has a headphone jack here, 3.5, as well as a suite of other inputs, but I'm just using one USB-A. So the USB runs into my Arturia Keylab Essential 49, which is kind of hard to see because of the light in here, but right here into the USB port, through the cable mess in the background, and here into the Zomoy. This gives me MIDI control over what's on the iPad. The headphone jack is actually a 3.5mm to dual RCA cable. So if we go over here to the MPC, we can see that it's plugged in here. This is the same cable. I bought it off of Sweetwater, not a sponsor, just a chill company. Essentially, you probably already know this if you know music stuff, but red is right, black is left. So I plugged it in accordingly. And now, if I go from the home page into Empty Project and click Audio, I can go into Input here and pick Config. And we're already properly set up. It's 1 and 2. And the thing we're going to want to do is either in or auto. This will let us actually monitor sound that's coming out of the iPad. You can't hear it right now because I usually record audio into my audio recorder, so I'm going to be switching to that so you can actually hear what I do as I do it, but I wanted to be able to kind of talk through the setup. So yes, at its most basic, essentially 3.5 to dual RCA, balanced. I think it needs to be balanced. I bought balanced. Plugged in here, make sure your input's set up, make sure you're on an audio track, and then you should also be able to control via MIDI. Yes, so Korg Module is working, so there's just something with my Agonizer config I'll probably figure out. But yeah, MIDI's going from the Keylab into the iPad, and then I have background audio off. This is going to be important because I'm going to have different inputs for each iPad app. And I'm actually going to name them. So if I were to use Module, I would click this little pencil icon, let this focus, click up here and actually name it Module, and then I would probably put the preset as well. So this would be Cinema. I'm not going to actually do this because I'm not actually going to potentially use this app. But yes, the reason you want the clean naming config is so that you know which audio track is which app, and if you save your project and then come back to it later, you will know which app was connected and which preset it was. Lastly, you might be wondering, hey, why go to the trouble of doing all of this with an MPC instead of an iPad? iPads have DAWs, and the biggest reason for me is stability. The iPad is pretty unstable, in my opinion, when it comes to music production apps. I encounter lots of bugs and glitches, but the sounds are amazing. The MPC, on the other hand, is extremely stable in my experience, knock on Arturia Keylab Essential, and the big trade-off is that its internal synth engines are not extremely amazing. So, using this duo, you can get kind of a best of both worlds situation. And once you're done composing, everything you recorded from the iPad is in the MPC. So if you wanted to perform, for example, you would have all those sounds in here, and you wouldn't have to have the iPad with you. So there you go. Let's make something.